Mastering Python. So in this we will deal with 100 plus solved exercises to accelerate the learning. So first start with the part 1 of this exercises. So first program in this is to prompt the user for two numbers and display the addition, subtraction, multiplication and division from them. So here we will start by prompting the user to enter two numbers, that is the input function is used to receive the user input, and the float is used to convert them into a floating point number, that is decimal number. Next we perform the arithmetic operations using this given numbers: addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. And finally the results are stored in a separate variable, that is addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. And finally we use this print function to display the results to the users. Please note that the program assumes the user will input valid numbers. So in case the user enters non-numeric number or values, then the program will raise a value error. The second program is to calculate the arithmetic mean of two numbers. So here we will start by prompting the user to enter two numbers using the input function. Float function is used to convert the input into floating point numbers. After obtaining the two numbers, we calculate the arithmetic mean by adding the two numbers together and dividing the sum by 2. This is done by using this operator, and the result of the arithmetic mean calculation is stored in a variable mean. And finally we use the print function to display the arithmetic mean to the user. Here also please note that the program assumes that the user will input valid numbers. Third program is to calculate the arithmetic mean of 3 grades. So we'll start it by prompting the user to enter 3 grades using this input functions and using the float functions to convert the input into floating point numbers. After obtaining the 3 grades, we calculate the arithmetic mean by adding the 3 grades together and dividing the sum by 3. So result of the arithmetic mean is stored in variable called mean, and finally the print command is used to display the arithmetic mean to the user. The second example or the second method for this can be using this round function. So we use the round function to round the arithmetic mean to two decimal places, and here we will show the user, that is we will format the number with the two decimal places using this function here. So any of the two methods can be used here. Either we can round the mean to two decimal places and then display the results, or we can simply display the results. The fourth program is to calculate the geometric mean of the numbers. So here we'll start by importing the math module, which provides the mathematical functions and constants for mathematical operation. We need this to use the POW, power function, to calculate the cubic root later. So we'll prompt the user to enter three numbers using this input function. The float function is used to convert them into floating points. After obtaining the three numbers, we will calculate the product of the number by using this formula num1, num2, num3, and finally we will calculate the geometric mean using this formula math.pow product 1 by 3, and the results is stored in a variable geometric mean, and finally we print the results. The next program is to calculate the BMI using this formula. So here we'll again start by prompting the user for entering the weight and height, calculate the BMI using this formula, and finally display the results. The next program is to calculate the parameter. So again we will take the math function. The reason for this because we want to use this mathpy function. We know the parameter is 2 pi r. So we'll prompt the user to enter radius, apply the formula, and finally display the results. The next program is to calculate the area of circle using this. As we are using the pi, we will have to import the math function, and we'll use the math.pi and then radius square. So we'll have this calculate, we will prompt the user to enter radius and then apply this area pi r square, and finally display the result. The next program is to calculate the delta using these equations. So first prompt A, B and C. So we have input all the three values and then apply this function b square minus 4ac and display the results. The next program is to calculate the parameter. We need the width and height. So prompt the user to enter both and then calculate this parameter to width plus length. And then area is width into length. And finally display the results by storing them into the variables called parameter and area. The next program is to calculate the parameter and area of a triangle using this formulas. So here we need the sides of these triangles A, B and C, and finally we need the height. So we'll use this formula of the parameter side A plus B plus C, and for this area we'll use this base height plus height by 2, right? And finally we will display the results. The next program is to calculate the average velocity using these formulas. So here we will prompt the user to enter the space variation and time variation, apply this formula and then display the results. The next program is to calculate this kinetic energy. For this we need the mass and velocity, and then we will apply this formula, mass into velocity square by 2, and finally display the results as kinetic energy. The next program is to calculate the work done. For this we need the force and the distance. So prompt the user to enter both. Apply the formula work done is equals to applied force into distance. Save it in a variable called work done and display the result. The next program is to read x and y positions of 2 points in Cartesian plane and calculate the distance. Here we will use the math function. The reason for this because we want to use the square root function here. So prompt the users to enter the coordinates of point 1 and then point 2, and then apply the distance formula square math.square root x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square, and finally display the results. The next program is to prompt the user for the radius of the sphere and calculate its volume. So we know the volume of the sphere is 4 by 3 pi r cube. So here we are using pi. So we need to import the math function. We'll import the math function here. We will prompt the user to enter radius, apply this formula and then display the results. And this all for today. Thank you.